10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Right now on the 10 o'clock news.
He's a scary person all the time. And when you see him, you just run away.
A neighborhood in New Jersey in shock tonight after a suspect is accused of killing a man with a bow and arrow. And tonight we're learning more about the victim.
Set to strike, nurses working at hospitals across New York City voting to walk off the job if the new contract agreement isn't met by the end of the year.
And snow is moving into the tri-state as millions head out for the holidays. We are tracking this storm. Welcome to the 10 o'clock news. I'm Natasha Verma.
And I'm Steve Lacey. We begin with the weather as the travel rush shifts into high gear changes. Are in store as we head into the overnight hours. A system moving east will drop snow in the suburbs to our north and west come morning.
And holiday travelers boarding planes tonight, well, they're going to beat the weather. In the morning, Mother Nature has different plans.
All right, we have team coverage tonight. Teresa Priolo monitoring the situation at Newark, but we begin with the forecast and meteorologist Nick Gregory. So, Nick, how much snow are we talking about?
Not too much snow, and it's really going to be more so for the northern and western suburbs where 1 to as much as 3 inches may accumulate there. Steve and Natasha, we can see it making its move across Pennsylvania. We'll take a bit of a look at that in just a moment. Certainly cold enough to snow. Temperatures below freezing up there at Monticello, 32 Scranton. We're mid and upper 30s just about everywhere else, but we do have this winter weather advisory. That's in effect here from interior Fairfield County, Connecticut, northern Westchester, Rockland, Orange County, North Jersey, into northeastern Pennsylvania. So you kind of get an idea where that accumulating snow is really going to be found. Close up again, some of that snow you see there is not yet reaching the ground because it's so dry, but eventually we will see this little swath of snow move across the area as the night goes along, and like I said, likely producing a couple of, up to a couple of inches, 2 or 3 inches in the northern and western suburbs. So here's our time frame. Look at our future cast, 7 o'clock in the morning. Not great news for your commute, as that snow will be out there, particularly again in the northern suburbs, will be at or below freezing. It will start to mix with rain in the city and the coast, but not after we even get a little coating up to maybe a half an inch or an inch. And even a little rain might mix in some of the northern suburbs before it all comes to an end. And then we'll dry things out tomorrow night. Christmas Eve daytime looks dry and chilly. A little windy, too, in the middle 30s. Futurecast guidance showing, again, maybe up to an inch or close to it near the coast, or a coating or so. And here's that 1 to 3, North Jersey, Hudson Valley, interior Connecticut. That's a little high for Monticello, but I wouldn't rule out some areas getting 4 inches over the higher terrain off to the north. Steve and Natasha.
Very well. All right, thanks, Nick. And AAA projecting more than 122 million Americans will travel this holiday season. And tomorrow's weather, of course, sure to bring some disruptions on the road and in the skies.
Fox 5's Teresa Priolo is live at Newark Liberty International Airport. Teresa, how's it going? It looks pretty quiet behind you.
Quite quiet here right now, Steve and Natasha, although, of course, it is the end of the night. A very different story earlier today. The travelers that we talked to say they're bracing for what tomorrow will bring, and they say the talk of all this bad weather, that's the buzz in all of the airports, but thankfully there haven't been any significant disruptions just yet.
It hasn't been too bad. I came from Orlando. It wasn't too bad there. Definitely more crowds here in Newark, though.
Been delayed in Dallas for 45 minutes, so I'm just waiting. Excited and all.
Everything went great, no problems.
How were the crowds? Bigger?
It wasn't too bad today.
Especially since we're traveling up in the mountains. If you don't start before the snow starts, you're not going to get home for Christmas.
So by the numbers, more than 122 million people are expected to travel between December 20th and January 1st. That's a 2.2% jump. Now, 8 million people will fly during that time frame, and the data shows that the southern states are the most popular this holiday season. The busiest days will be Saturday and Sunday after Christmas. There are some weather hotspots around the country that could impact plans, but if you're wondering why it's not feeling too crowded so far, according to the experts, this is why.
Thanksgiving was a huge holiday, records broken almost every single day that week. But because of the nature of these holidays here at the end of the year, it's a little more spread out. So airports are bound to be a little less chaotic. That said, obviously, look for some weather. I just flew through 2 of the nation's largest airports last week, Atlanta and LAX, and everything was luckily smooth sailing.
So the experts also say their number one tip when you're flying, especially over the holidays, especially when bad weather is expected, is to make sure that you download your airline app on your phone, United, JetBlue, American, whatever it is. And also, Steve, be checking FlightAware or sites like it, so you're tracking not only where your plane is coming from, but where it's going. And that way you can get ahead of a problem if you start to see that there are some disruptions or delays. That's the latest from Newark tonight. Back to you in the studio.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Teresa. New tonight, an arrest after a stabbing in Crown Heights. The suspect now charged with a hate crime. 23-year-old Armani Charles taken into custody today. Officials say it all started after Charles and the victim got into some sort of verbal dispute last week. Investigators say Charles allegedly said anti-Semitic slurs before stabbing the victim in the chest. The victim was not seriously injured. Charles faces several charges, including assault as a hate crime.
A suspect in a deadly shooting at a recording studio in Newark has been charged. Name Andrews of Newark is facing first-degree murder and other charges. He's accused of shooting and killing a 20-year-old at a recording studio. Prosecutors say Andrews was also hurt during the incident and he's still being treated in the hospital.
A scary incident this afternoon in New Rochelle when a taxi jumped the curb and crashed into a building at the now-closed Moon Diner. A pedestrian was struck and taken to the hospital along with 2 passengers. The fire department says the call came in just after 3 o'clock this afternoon. The diner and the adjacent building were not open at the time of the incident.
Well, help from the state is on the way for people displaced by an apartment building fire in Mount Vernon. Close to 100 families were forced from their homes in the fire on November 23rd. Damages to the building on Cottage Avenue topping $2 million. Governor Hochul working to secure a federal disaster declaration for the site, so that'll allow tenants to access low-interest loans of up to $100,000 from the U.S. Small Business Association.
Well, tonight we're hearing from the family of a New Jersey man killed by a bow and arrow.
And the suspect now facing murder charges. Fox 5's Duarte Geraldino is in Kearney with the latest.
We still don't have a motive for this very bizarre attack with a bow and arrow, but people who live on this block say they've always felt uncomfortable walking past the suspect's house, which is right behind me. And you can see it right now. It has so much fire damage. Several yards away from this house is the spot where 44-year-old Pablo Criollo fell and died.
Oh my God. It was too much for me that day.
Dozens of community members gathered and lit candles to remember this father and husband.
I feel bad for this family, really, because he had a wife, he had kids, and who would want coming home from work to get shot out of nowhere?
Criollo's wife says he was a hardworking man. She spoke with him just before he was killed.
Hacía frío que iba a caminar.
Hacía frío. She says it was cold in Spanish and he was trying to get home. She says there were photos taken of her late husband laying on the sidewalk with his hands still dirty from the day's hard work. Investigators tell us that Pablo Criollo was struck by an arrow Saturday evening near Kearney Avenue and Johnson Avenue. He later died at University Hospital in Newark. Prosecutors tell us that Oscar Fejo fired that arrow that killed Criollo. He's charged with murder, weapons offenses, and aggravated arson. Neighbors describe Fejo as reclusive and frightening.
He's a scary person all the time. And when you see him, you just run away. That's how I was looking at him. Because he had, you cannot walk next to his house, ever. You can see the line over there, that he did a line.
After Criollo was shot, prosecutors say Fejo barricaded himself inside his Kearney Avenue home. SWAT responded. Investigators say several fires started inside the home around 5 a.m. Sunday. That brought a multi-alarm response and forced neighbors to evacuate. Prosecutors say Fejo came out Sunday afternoon armed with knives. Officers took him into custody. Criollo's wife tells us that he is an immigrant from Ecuador, a roofer who was working hard, and that he was very excited because Sunday was supposed to be his payday. He was excited to go out and buy a table so that they could celebrate Christmas dinner together. But now that's just not going to happen because he was shot and killed with a bow and arrow. In Kearney, Duarte Geraldino, Fox 5 News.
Governor Hochul has vetoed legislation that would have required two-person crews on every subway train. The governor explained that she rejected the bill because it would have cost the state as much as $10 million a year. She said that it could have also affected the MTA's ability to use new technology to cut costs in the future. Current existing labor contracts still require two-person crews on most lines, but the Transit Workers Union has long pushed for a law mandating two-person crews. They say the decision to veto it could make the subway system more dangerous.
President Trump announces plans for the U.S. to build 2 new warships as part of a larger vision to create a golden fleet. The president made the announcement at Mar-a-Lago this afternoon. He said it would eventually consist of 20 to 25 ships, more powerful than any battleship ever built.
Well, America has built many new warships over the years. They've tended to be smaller, much smaller, and not conducive to where we are and where we're going, and peace through strength.
The announcement comes as the U.S. has stopped 2 oil tankers in the Caribbean Sea. The Trump administration says they're connected to the Venezuelan government's shadow fleet carrying sanctioned Venezuelan oil.
Well, the strike deadline fast approaching for thousands of New York City nurses. They're ready to walk off the job next week, the issues that they want resolved in their next contract.
And a wind farm off the shore of Long Island put on pause. Why the feds are pulling the plug.
And a power outage traffic jam, not caused by humans, but by Waymo self-driving vehicles. How the company is responding. Thousands of New York City nurses are set to walk off the job if a contract isn't reached by the end of the year.
All right, the union officially voting to strike if necessary. Fox 5 Sharon Crowley live in the newsroom with more on their demands. Sharon.
Yeah, there are big concerns about this tonight. Nurses working at 12 private New York City hospitals have voted to authorize a strike if a new contract isn't reached by the end of this year, December 31st. Now, the New York State Nurses Association says that 97% of the nurses at the affected hospitals approved this plan. Contracts for more than 20,000 nurses are set to expire December 31st. The two sides at odds over pay, benefits, staffing levels. Nurses say they are also concerned that patient care is in jeopardy.
They want to cut corners on staffing, and we're never going to let that happen. Wages and benefits. They refuse to agree to a proposal to protect healthcare services for our most vulnerable patients.
Well, the League of Voluntary Hospitals and Homes of New York, which represents these hospitals, says that the nurses are asking for a more than 33% increase in wages over 3 years, which is significantly higher than the 19.7% increase they already got in 2022. Adding the financial situation for a number of New York City hospitals is already dire. So we'll be following this for you. The union also wants safety improvements like having metal detectors in some hospitals to protect patients and staff. Steve?
All right, thanks, Sharon. The Trump administration pausing 5 offshore wind projects, including 2 in New York, the Sunrise and Empire wind projects, now on hold because they've been deemed national security risks by the Pentagon. The administration says the pause will give the Interior Department time to work with the Defense Department to address any security concerns.
These towers are gargantuan, 2.5 times higher than the Statue of Liberty, spinning at 150 to 200 miles an hour. One can understand how they would cause issues with casting radar shatters and clutter, as they call it, that create real issues for trying to determine, what's friend or what's foe.
Today's announcement comes 2 weeks after a federal judge struck down an executive order blocking wind energy projects. Sunrise Wind off the coast of Long Island was expected to generate enough clean energy to power 600,000 homes and businesses.
Well, sad news to share with you from the entertainment world. Singer Barry Manilow has been diagnosed with lung cancer. The 82-year-old legend shared the news on Instagram this morning. He wrote that he had an MRI after weeks of suffering with bronchitis, and that's when doctors found a cancerous spot on his left lung that needs to be removed. Manilow says the cancer was thankfully found early and that doctors don't believe it has spread, but because of the diagnosis, Manilow needs to reschedule his January shows in Vegas, but plans to resume performing in Valentine's Day week in February.
All right, a major change coming to the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs announcing that they are packing up and moving the team. The 4-time Super Bowl champs are leaving their longtime home at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, for a new domed facility across the border in Kansas City, Kansas. Well, the move sent shockwaves across the league. That move's only about 20 miles from the current home, and fans will still have time to adjust to the news with that new $3 billion stadium not expected to be ready until the 2031 season.
Well, the self-driving car service Waymo back on the streets of San Francisco tonight after a power outage forced the company to suspend service over the weekend. The driverless cars, look at that, all coming to a stop during the blackout, blocking streets, leaving passengers stranded inside. Spokesperson for the company says its vehicles are designed to treat non-functioning traffic signals as four-way stops, but the scale of this outage created unusual conditions. Power was restored to most homes and businesses by Sunday. A full restoration is not expected until early Tuesday morning. Frightening.
Yeah.
Well, friends are in it together, including buying homes.
All right, co-buying property is on the rise. The pros and cons of this new financial trend.
And Instacart reacting to customer backlash, the changes being made to their pricing tactics.
Instacart ending a controversial practice that caused some customers to pay more for the same product. The grocery delivery app says it's no longer allowing retailers to conduct price testing on its platform. Stores have been using AI technology to see what kinds of prices customers would pay for certain items, but Instacart says it is now stopping that program.
And with home prices and interest rates high, many would-be buyers are finding a new path to home ownership.
That's right. They're co-buying properties with friends or family. Fox 5's Stephanie Bertini takes a look at exactly what that process involves.
If owning a home seems out of reach on your own, there might be a solution to consider, especially if you don't have a spouse or a long-term partner. Co-buying involves teaming up with someone you trust and taking on the cost and responsibility together.
Would you consider this? I think it's a good idea since everybody rents together anyways. Like, a roommate is so common, so to buy together wouldn't be the most unheard of thing either. I love the co-buy idea. I really do.
Real estate experts say more and more people are co-buying or considering it as an option.
Traditionally, most buyers in New York buy by themselves or with a domestic partner. However, in the coming years, the demand for co-ownership, potentially with a relative or even friends, will likely rise, especially in the face of rising costs.
Kenny Lee, senior economist at StreetEasy, breaking down the details of an NYC housing market prediction for 2026. New forms of co-buying stand to rise in popularity, according to StreetEasy, based on a buyer trend survey done this year. It indicated 56% of prospective NYC buyers plan to buy with a co-buyer. The survey showing while most prospective buyers plan to purchase a home with a partner or spouse, 9% intended to buy with a friend and 6% with relatives.
Given the high prices, given the staggering high rent costs here in New York City, we're starting to see this gain more traction.
Real estate attorney Michael Romer says the price of properties is making co-buying a rising trend, and there are some things to consider from a legal standpoint.
Whenever more than one person is purchasing a piece of property at the same time, you have to think about how the property is to be owned and what happens, God forbid, if somebody passes away. These are some of the first questions that a lawyer needs to ask a prospective buyer.
While co-buying may not be for everyone or something you do with anyone.
Are you friends?
Yes.
So what would you?
I'm not with him. No way. The difference is
Why not?
because he has the money and I have the credit score.
See, it's a perfect team.
It's an option more New Yorkers might be considering as we enter the new year. Stephanie Bertini, Fox 5 News.
All right, let's get a check of the forecast now with Nick.
Yeah, a big travel day yet again tomorrow, Nick, and it looks like it could be a little messy depending on where you're headed.
Exactly, particularly again traveling off to the north, because that's where we're going to see more of the snowfall. We're seeing that snow now advancing across Pennsylvania. You're going to see a weak disturbance. You're going to see here on the wide view that really just kind of extends back now into southern Canada and the northern parts of Michigan. So this is all going to be sliding southward. So if you're heading off into the north and east, very little snow actually into Massachusetts up towards parts of New England, but closer to home, as you'll see here on the Futurecast, is where the snow is going to be found. So out the door in the morning, here's the snow, but notice there is a little rain now that'll be heading across central southern New Jersey, and eventually you're going to see as we move forward that will start spreading northward across the city, and even starting to see that snow mixed with a bit of rain at times, moving into parts of the Hudson Valley, and that trend will continue for a little while longer. And again, those areas that are colder to the north, likely staying more snow. Again, not a huge storm coming through, but once it does pass, we'll see a couple of inches on the ground, particularly in the northern and western suburbs. Then as we get into Christmas Eve, during the daytime, sunshine returns, but it will turn out to be a windy day as temperatures will recover back into the middle 40s. All right, here's another computer model to look at compared to the one I showed you earlier in the newscast. Again, up to about an inch for the city. Be close. I'm thinking more of a half an inch to a 3/4, just a little coating really near the coast. But there's that 1 to 2 inches again, North Jersey, Hudson Valley, and it's not out of the question. We see about 4 inches of snow there heading on up into portions of Sullivan County and the Catskills region there. That's not out of the question as well. Again, we have that winter weather advisory that is located across North Jersey, the Hudson Valley, Interior Connecticut. That's going to run from 4 a.m. to about 4 p.m. tomorrow. So again, you have an idea of where that accumulating snow is really going to be. Wind's not going to be too much of an issue. It'll be sort of coming in out of the south and east, so we don't have any wind advisories or flooding issues to talk about with this system. All right, so overnight temperatures head into the upper 20s in the northern and western colder spots. About 33 in the city, closer to 30 at the coast as the snow arrives from west to east, starting about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And as we go through the day, you'll see temperatures rise to about 40 in town and along the coast. So that's why we say the snow goes over to rain. Stays snow a little bit longer off to the north. The temperatures even there rising into the upper 30s by the time we get on into the afternoon. Dry for Christmas Eve, dry for Christmas Day, but another storm could threaten with snow later on Friday. Steve and Natasha?
All right, very well. Thanks, Nick.
And when the clock strikes midnight on New Year's Day, Zohran Mamdani will officially become mayor.
All right, the plans he just announced for Inauguration Day that are expected to draw huge crowds to Lower Manhattan.
And heavenly sounds are echoing through Brooklyn. We're going to introduce you to a choir making this holy season extra special.
You're watching the 10 o'clock news.
In just a few days, New York City will have a new mayor, and Zohran Mamdani will ring in his new administration with a party. Welcome back to the 10 o'clock news. I'm Steve Lacey.
And I'm Natasha Verma. Mayor-elect Mamdani plans to usher in his term in City Hall with the typical swearing-in ceremony and a first-of-its-kind block party.
All right, Fox 5's Linda Schmidt takes a closer look at the plans.
We are used to seeing ticker tape parades up the Canyon of Heroes, but on January 1st, Broadway is expected to be lined with thousands celebrating the inauguration of Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. In addition to the 4,000 ticketed guests who will be in City Hall Plaza, the Mamdani team is hosting a block party where supporters can gather along the Canyon of Heroes to celebrate. Now, this is the first time ever for a mayoral inauguration. The block party is free to attend, but people must RSVP ahead of time. And as with all mayors, the NYPD will provide security.
I can't tell you the specifics in terms of the number of officers, but I am deeply thankful to the NYPD for their work in protecting New Yorkers and the work that they will do on that day.
Part of Mamdani's security will include the NYPD's Strategic Response Group, known as SRG, a unit the mayor-elect is vowing to disband. He has criticized the unit, calling its handling of protests too aggressive. SRG is deployed for major events all across the city, including protests, parades, and New Year's Eve.
It's ironic, day one, that he's being inaugurated, he'll probably have to utilize that unit, to keep him safe, to keep his attendees safe, and the citizens of New York safe.
Mike Alcazar is a retired NYPD detective.
The SRG's there on standby just in case they get overwhelmed, and now they have to deploy the SRG for crowd control, any kind of protests that come about, if they have to make an arrest situation.
Mayor-elect Mamdani's website says spectators can bring their own food and drinks, but no alcohol. And some other items that you are not allowed to bring include large duffel bags and backpacks, strollers, coolers, and chairs. They will also not be providing any portable public bathrooms. In Lower Manhattan, Linda Schmidt, Fox 5 News.
Linda, thank you. President Trump is endorsing Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman to be the next governor of New York. In a post on Truth Social, the president calling Blakeman MAGA all the way and says that he can make New York great again. Blakeman responding to the endorsement earlier today.
No, not at all, because most of the people who endorsed Elise did so before I got in the race. What happened was on election night, in a county with 110,000 more Democrats, we won re-election in what was a bleak year for Republicans across America in a landslide. So people started to say, well, look, if this guy can win in a county with 110,000 more Democrats by 36,000 votes, maybe he's got the right message.
Trump's endorsement comes just one day after Congresswoman Elise Stefanik dropped out of the race for governor.
Well, the holidays are fast approaching, and they're getting ready at the largest evangelical church in New York City.
Fox 8's Sharon Crowley is enjoying the sweetest sounds of their choir in this edition of Finding Faith.
The heavenly sounds you hear resonating from inside the Christian Cultural Center are coming from its world-famous choir. These faithful altos, sopranos, and tenors are the heart and soul of this Brooklyn megachurch. Choir director Kimberly Harley leads this group with joy.
It just uplifts. It's like medicine. I mean, it's amazing what music does to you and how it just empowers you. And it's like a connection, you know, it's something, but like I said, it's from God. It is. It has to be.
Remember, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
The choir practices all year round, and next year even plans to release Christian music. This Christmas season, choir practice includes caroling. Karen Duncan is an alto.
I wouldn't change being a part of this choir. I wouldn't change having music being so impactful for me. Because when there's no music, when there's no sound in your life, I think it changes your experience of who you are and how you express yourself.
You can see clearly what God can do in your life.
Pastor A.R. Bernard founded the church nearly 50 years ago. He grew it into the largest evangelical church in New York City. In September, though, his son Jamal took over as the head of the church, ordained as the senior pastor with his father's blessing.
Being a part of choir is bigger than just singing. It's like, how do we help develop individuals in that choir?
The camaraderie
Yes, the family, the community. Yeah, it just something different happens when they get together and start volunteering and singing together. It's amazing.
Inside this room, they're practicing more than just music. Some of these choir members have known each other for years. It's about friendship, fellowship, and deepening their faith.
I can't imagine a church without a choir. Because without the choir, what do you have? I mean, the word is wonderful, but let's be lifted up. Let's praise Him. Let's praise God. That's what we're here for.
Sharon Crowley, Fox 5 News.
And you can watch Sharon's Finding Faith special throughout the holidays, starting on Christmas Eve right here on Fox 5 and streaming on the free Fox local app. Well, it's the end of an era. MetroCard's about to become a thing of the past.
The big change is fast approaching. What you need to know in order to switch to an OmniCard.
All right, and the cards are in his favor. How a Long Island teen is turning his knack for magic from a hobby into a career. The MTA phasing out the MetroCard. Sales and reloads end on December 31st.
And if you still have money on that yellow card, it's not going to transfer by itself. Fox 8's Eduardo Geraldino explains what riders are going to do.
When was the last time anybody used a MetroCard?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
You probably noticed it already. Fewer people are swiping MetroCards. For years, the MTA has been pushing riders to move to Omni. You know, the tap-and-go system. You can tap with your phone, a contactless bank card, or an Omni card. And once you hit your weekly fare limit, the rest of your rides are free. When was the last time you had one of those yellow MetroCards?
Maybe 2 years ago, I would say.
Serious?
I honestly, I want one because I want to like save it. I think it's like very nostalgic, like it's very New York.
But now the change is official. At 11:59 p.m. on New Year's Eve, you won't be able to buy a MetroCard or add money to one. They're being phased out, even though many of them still have money left on them.
The last time I used a MetroCard was a couple of months ago, but I had to stop using it because of the Omni card. So I still have my MetroCard with me.
How much money is left on that MetroCard?
Not even that much. Maybe like $2.30, $2.30. But not that it's $3. It's just like it's not really worth anything now.
Here's where a lot of people get confused. That MetroCard balance does not transfer automatically. No, Omni doesn't just pick it up for you. You can't move the money online. You can't do it at a vending machine. You have to do it in person.
That money's gonna be ridiculous. If that's the case. Yeah, that money's gonna be ridiculous if that's the case. Yeah.
Does that worth it for you?
No, it's not for $2. I don't think so.
To transfer the balance, you need to go to an MTA customer service center and select subway stations, or visit an MTA mobile sales van when it comes to your neighborhood. An MTA worker takes your MetroCard and moves the balance onto an Omni card. Once that's done, you're set. And don't worry if you don't make the switch in time. You have up to 2 years from December 31st to switch your balances from your MetroCard to your Omni account. And once you do, you can actually link it to an online account so you can check your balances and reload it at Union Square. Duarte Geraldino, Fox 5 News.
It definitely is vintage at this point.
That's
the
right,
MetroCard. Yeah. Well, this year has been a blur, but it's not too late to get into the Christmas spirit.
All right, don't feel bad if you haven't picked up your Christmas tree yet. We found that there are lots of people in the exact same boat.
Yeah, if you offer up. And a baby name shakeup for the first time in a decade. 2 new names top the list in New York City. Plus, Nick is tracking snow. Hey, Nick.
Hello there. That snow marching across Pennsylvania. It's going to be light to a little bit of moderate snow from time to time. Again, the most amount of snow will be in the northern suburbs. We'll talk about that when the 10 o'clock news returns.
Less than 3 days to go before Christmas, and there are still plenty of Christmas trees out there if you happen to be looking for one.
Yeah, and there are a lot of last-minute shoppers looking for that perfect tree.
Kind of wild. I always wonder what happened at this point. Fox 5's Kendall Green has their Christmas story.
Christmas trees have a way of making the house feel a little bit more like home during Christmas. The closer we get to the holiday, the lesser the chance these Christmas trees actually get bought. But you may be surprised how late shoppers would wait to buy one. When is it too late to buy a Christmas tree?
I guess it's never too late to buy a Christmas tree.
Well, the amount shoppers would spend on one is a different story.
I think this is worth about like $100, right?
Okay.
Don't you think? I don't really know, but I mean,
you would spend?
Yeah, because it's a beautiful tree.
What if I tried to charge you $300 for it?
It might be a little bit too much for my budget.
This tree, both overpriced and oversized for Josephine.
Probably for my apartment, because I have a studio apartment in Walkup, New York. I probably want a smaller one.
Okay, so
this would be like I think $60.
Okay.
How much is it really though?
Well, the sign says make an offer. And though this close to Christmas, shoppers may spend less time with it in their home before it's time to take them down, some surprisingly say they still don't mind buying them at full price. You don't expect a deal?
It would be nice, but I wouldn't expect it.
You wouldn't expect a deal?
New York is insane. And we're like so used to being taken advantage of that we're like, okay.
Just surrender. Oh, we're just a couple of days from Christmas, and this shop on 60th and 1st is racing the clock. And one of the merchants, they tell us these trees are selling between $70 and $300. We asked a couple of folks if that's worth it.
I would say a few weeks ago, and one of these trees as tall as these ones, are going for about $230.
$230?
Yeah.
You spend $230?
No, I'd pay like $60 for it.
Okay.
How much is it?
$300.
$300? I'm good. Go get groceries.
Or you could just keep it simple, like Nora here.
Just a tiny tree, like the Charlie Brown kind.
Kendall Green, Fox 5 News.
And the one on 72nd, they've taken like the bark and they put the leaves and made it look like a reindeer.
Yeah, they're very creative.
Yeah,
all
they're
the
cutting
leftovers.
for parts now.
I know.
So
I mean, at 10:46 on the 22nd, I'll give you $3 for that 30-foot tree at this point. Take it or leave it. Kind of
Otherwise,
wild.
it's going to turn into mulch
I
in
know.
Central Park.
Such a game of chicken at this point. All right, let's go to Nick now for a look at the forecast. It is wild. Those trees are gold, and then one day they're not worth it so much anymore.
That's it. So you just figure out when you want to, do you want to pay more? Do you want to pay less? And try to maybe go somewhere in between, I suppose. Well, we're getting into that Christmas spirit weather-wise, too. Why? A little snow's on the way. Emphasis on little. Enough, though, that the morning commute could be a problem, particularly in the northern suburbs. But as you look at the George Washington Bridge tonight, we've got clouds clouds overhead that are thickening up. We have made it to 39 and 28 today. Those numbers, though, are below average, as you see. 71 record high for the record low. That was 1872. By the way, officially, it is now winter. That happened at 10:03 yesterday morning, and which means we'll start adding a little daylight starting to move forward again. So something nice to look forward to there. All right, again, mostly cloudy now. 37 winds out of the west-southwest. Humidity up just a little bit. The pressure was high, but it is now falling at 30.40 as that disturbance approaches from the west. All right, so we have mid to upper 30s from Poughkeepsie, White Plains down to the city. 34 at Belmar. It's up to 34 in East Hampton. They were in the 20s a couple hours ago, though. And we're right at or below freezing Allentown, Scranton, up there towards Monticello as the wind continues out of the southwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. I got to stick around that direction as the night goes along. So earlier we hit 40 in a lot of spots. Upper 30s in the city to White Plains, 35 in the Hamptons, mid 30s as you get up towards the Catskills region. Again, heading up towards New England, 20s and 30s there, Burlington to Boston. 40s Pittsburgh to Cincinnati, even 50s appearing, even almost 60-degree weather, really. Nashville, right on down into Columbia, South Carolina. So there's not a huge amount of cold air around, but enough that we'll have some problems overnight. Here comes a band of snow moving into eastern Pennsylvania, all the way back to about Buffalo. So this was what will be coming across the area tonight. Figure from west to east, starting about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, something along those lines, as the system has to sort of slide on through. But again, not a big storm, but it'll be enough to produce a couple of inches of snow, particularly again in the northern and western suburbs. Look at the rest of the country. I mean, we have some really mild weather here. 80s in Houston, 82 today. Lubbock, Texas, there, 85, 80 to South Florida. 60-degree weather almost to Kansas City. Even Minneapolis is above freezing there at 39. Denver, 76 today. Phoenix, 83. 60s, LA, San Francisco to 50s in the Pacific Northwest. All right, let's take a look at the futurecast. Watch the timestamp again. Here we're now 7 in the morning. We have light snow, occasionally moderate snow in the area, particularly again as you move north and west. And here's where that rain starts mixing in. City and along the coast, that trend will continue into the morning. And even some areas to the north will see a little mix of snow to rain as we get into parts of the afternoon. As you can see, temperatures are going to come above freezing there and even get to about 40 for the city and along the coast. And tomorrow night, we'll start to clear it out. Temperatures go back down into the 30s, some 20s north and west. And then on Christmas Eve daytime, sunshine, bit of a windy day though, but we're back in the low to middle 40s, so back about average again for this time of the year. And then it turns a little bit colder for Christmas Eve at night on into Christmas Day, but that should be another dry day, as you'll see. All right, we'll take a look at Futurecast one more time, see if it's updated. About the same. A coating to maybe a 3/4 to an inch here near the city and near the coast. It's 1 to 3 inches though, North Jersey, Hudson Valley, into interior Connecticut. Overnight down towards about 33 in the city. As snow develops, 20s to about 30 in those colder suburbs. Again, snow goes to rain, 1 to 3 north and west. We stop at 40s, we headed into the afternoon. Here's Christmas Eve, windy at 45. Christmas Day, sun to clouds 43. Friday afternoon into Friday night, that's got to be watched. Potential there for a plowable snow, meaning more than maybe a couple of inches. We'll have to see. Cold day. Goes to a bit of rain on Saturday, a little more rain on Sunday, then it gets cold again on Monday. Natasha?
All right, sounds good, Nick. Thank you. Well, an NYPD officer is being hailed a hero for saving the life of a neighbor's baby, and a surveillance camera here outside his home captured the whole thing. Officer Freddie Serpa was off duty when you can see here a woman who lives nearby rushed to his doorstep holding her 1-year-old who was choking. Serpa came outside, immediately started giving aid to the baby, and after a few moments, the baby started to breathe again.
I literally can't think of anything more terrifying than that. Wow, amazing. Well, a Long Island teen saying abracadabra and has landed himself a prestigious award for his magic skills.
We're going to introduce you to the high school senior turning his hobby into a career. A 17-year-old on Long Island has a few tricks up his sleeves. The teen is turning his magic skills into a potential career.
That's right. Fox 5's Jody Goldberg shows us how the magician is now taking his talents to the West Coast.
At first glance, Jacob Getz looks like any other 17-year-old senior. But don't blink, because while most kids his age are busy scrolling social media, Jacob is shuffling cards and using sleight of hand to perform magic.
When I was 7, I was given a magic kit.
What started as a casual curiosity is turning into a career.
It just became like this really big hobby. And then I found out like you could do this for a job.
I want you to just reach out and just touch a card.
this one right here, remember the card? Now, I'm going to place all the cards inside the card box, just like this. Was the card you picked the one printed on the box? Probably not. Hold out your hand and place your other hand on top. Turn over the card box.
He's quickly realizing the real trick isn't the cards, but the reaction.
No, it can't be in the. It can't be. You're telling me it's in the box?
Making them laugh, smile, scream.
Jacob's building a business from his dining room to tableside at local restaurants and events.
That's crazy!
The magician and mentalist just earned a spot in a competitive junior magic program in California.
What's the first letter of the name that you're thinking of?
J.
J? That's a J? That's a J. That's a J. And that's a J.
How are they just like what? That's crazy. All right, so off camera, Jacob just showed me a card trick. I'm gonna perform it for you guys. Jacob, pick a card, any card you want. Look at it. Don't tell me what it is. All right, put it right on top here. You remember it? You guys remember it? All right, we're gonna do this and this, and now I'm gonna show you. It was Jack of Diamonds. All right, I need a little bit more work.
Among his biggest fans, his dad.
For a long time, he would do tricks and I could tell what's going on. Then we passed into a point where I just say, what?
Reach out and take out a card. And then place the cards back like this. I want you to take the cards from me and hold them under the table. Turn one card face up and then bring the cards back out.
While his hands stay fast, Jacob tells us his goals are clear.
I want to be in New York City and I want to have a show.
He's ready to see how the next hand plays out. In Syosset, Long Island, Jody Goldberg, Fox 5 News.
Gotta be so talented with that.
Pretty impressive. All right, well, there's more than 10 o'clock news straight ahead.
We'll be right back.
All right, the list of top baby names in New York is out. According to the health department, Noah was #1 for boys, chosen 722 times in 2024. And when it comes to girls, Mia topped the list, chosen 422 times. They replace Emma and Liam, which were the top names in 2023. Those have been popular.
Yeah, those
for
are
a while.
nice. And don't go anywhere. Good Night New York with Crystal Young and Ryan Christopher is next, and you do not want to miss that.
Okay, that does it for us tonight. If you missed any part of the 10 o'clock news, you can always catch an encore on our free streaming app, Fox Local.
Where you can stream our newscast anytime. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.